Hello and welcome to Jason's Macintosh Museum. I'm Jason, your host, and today we're going to be talking about the various options that you had for connecting your Macintosh PowerBook Duo to a docking station. Now, if you've watched my video on the Macintosh PowerBook Duo 250, you'll understand that to keep the size and weight of the Duo series down, Apple deliberately left out a lot of the ports that you might normally have on a notebook. So, for example, on the PowerBook Duo series, the only port you actually got were a port for your AC adapter, a serial port for a modem or a printer, and if you had a built-in modem, you'd have the RJ12 port for that. That was all you got. So, of course, if you wanted to hook up an ADB device like a mouse or a keyboard, or an external SCSI device, or an external display or anything like that, you needed some kind of docking station. Now, Apple, in addition to a lot of third-party companies, offered these because all of the Duo laptops used the same universal docking connector, which was a large, wide connector. I think it had at least 50 pins on it. I'm not sure how many pins it had specifically, but all the Duo machines had that, so the one dock could be used with any of the Duo models. Now, as far as Apple was concerned, they gave you three different methods for docking your PowerBook Duo. The first of which was a device called the MicroDock, which I do have, but I can't find it yet. But I'll put a picture of it up so you can see what it looks like. Now, the MicroDock was the smallest dock you could get for the PowerBook Duo, and in the Apple version, I believe it gave you an external floppy drive port, and I believe an external SCSI and ADB port. And the beauty of the MicroDock was that it was only as wide as the Apple Duo's docking connector. And that meant that you could leave your AC adapter plugged in to the machine and your serial port plugged in and your modem port plugged in while using the dock. Now, the next step up from that was this unit, known as the Apple MiniDock. Now, the MiniDock gave you quite a few more ports than the MicroDock did. As you can see, we've got a full complement of ports here, including external video, external SCSI, external floppy drive, and so on. The difference was that because this was the entire width of the PowerBook Duo, you had to unplug everything from the Duo and plug it into the dock in order to use it. But then we come to the third option, which was quite revolutionary in its day, and that's the Duo dock, this one. Now, the Duo dock was really a complete desktop replacement option for the PowerBook Duo, in that the Duo dock gave you all the ports you would normally have on a desktop Macintosh, including a NuBus expansion slot that you could use with your PowerBook Duo. But I think the most revolutionary feature of the Duo dock is the way you used it, in that rather than the micro mini docks where you clipped them to the back of the PowerBook Duo, what you did with the Duo dock is you physically inserted the entire laptop into this slot at the front, and when you did that, a motor would actually pull the dock the laptop into position, a bit like inserting a video cassette into a video recorder. So it was quite a clever system. And with the Duo dock, you could of course put a monitor on top and use all of your other peripherals. So what we'll do now is we'll have a closer look at the MicroDock and the Duo dock, and then we'll have a demonstration of the Duo dock in action. Okay, here we have the Apple Duo MiniDock, and this is a dock that clips to the back of a Macintosh PowerBook Duo to give you all of, or many of, the ports you would normally have on a desktop Macintosh. So as you can see on the front, we have the docking connector here, which mates with the connector on the back of a PowerBook Duo, as you can see right there. And it has two guide pins which help you center the Duo onto the connector, and also has these two hooks which, when engaged in conjunction with this lever at the back, will help to pull the dock onto the back of the Duo to make a secure connection. And they even give you a little guide here. Let me just tip this up so you can see it. They even give you a little guide as to how to connect your dock to your Duo. So you can see here, step 1 is to lift the handle. Step 2 is push the Duo into the front of the dock, and then pull the handle down, and then it's ready for use. And then to remove the dock, you lift the handle, and you lift the handle to release it, then lift it a little bit further past the initial detent, and it actually releases the notebook from the dock. So we'll just have a look at the back of the Duo dock, or sorry, the MiniDock I should say, to have a look at what ports we have. So what we have, starting from over here, we have a power button, because when in use, the power button on the back of the PowerBook Duo is not accessible, and same with the AC adapter port there. And this is an external port for a floppy drive, and note that this is the HDI port for a special type of hard drive, which I will show you in a moment. Moving on, we have one ADB port, external video, printer and modem ports, external HDI SCSI, speaker out and microphone in, a Kensington key, a security cable lock, and a port for an internal modem. Now note that this one uses a what looks like a serial connector, but I believe this is in fact the Apple Geo port connector. Now the idea behind the Geo port was it was a bit like a software modem in that you would attach a small dongle, if you will. I have an example of one here. Just have a look at that. A dongle like this, which really contained nothing more than an interface between the serial port and the phone line. In other words, it didn't have any signal processing capabilities of its own. As you can see, that's the RJ12 port and the Geo port there. So you would plug that into the modem port and your computer would basically act as a software modem. So it's very much like the software modems that we used on PCs back in the day. So there are all the ports on the MiniDock. Let's get rid of that. And we'll have a look underneath, just to show you the, whoops, there we go. So this is the Macintosh Duo MiniDock, assembled in USA, model number M7780. It uses the same power supply or AC adapter as the Duo itself, 24 volts at 1.0 amps, and all the various certifications and whatnot. And there's the serial number just below it. Now, if you're wondering about the floppy drive, as I mentioned, the Duo, of course, doesn't have a built-in floppy drive. That's one of the reasons they're able to get the size and weight of the machine down. So to plug one into the MiniDock, you need a floppy drive like this. This is the Apple HDI external floppy drive, and you can see the connector is a HDI connector that mates with the connector here on the dock. So it's really an external 1.4 megabyte floppy drive. You just flip the front cover open to use it as a standard floppy drive. And if you're curious, I'll just show you just prop it up on that if we can. So we can just look at the label. That's the floppy drive, the Macintosh HDI 20 external 1.4 megabyte floppy disk drive. Okay, well let's our look at the MiniDock. So what we'll do now is we'll attach it to our PowerBook Duo and give it a try. Okay, so here is our setup to test the Apple Duo MiniDock. So I've got the dock connected, I've got the AC adapter for the Duo plugged into the dock, I've got the floppy drive over here connected up to the dock. I've also got an Apple ADB mouse as well, so we can test the dock actually works. So here's my PowerBook Duo 250. So in order to connect it up to the dock, what we have to do, zoom in on that, I have to first of all open the docking port cover on the back of the Duo, like that. Then we just rest it front of the dock. Now we line it up and push it in as far as it will go. Now at this point, it hasn't made a proper connection because I haven't closed this lever. But as I do, if you watch, it will pull, closing this lever will pull the dock or pull the laptop, pull the Duo into the dock to make a good connection. Like that. And you can see it actually starts the Duo up. So we'll just let the Duo boot and we'll do a quick test of the mouse and the ADB port. Okay, well the PowerBook Duo 250 is now up and running, so as you can see I can control it with the mouse. So the ADB is working, as you can see, and if I insert a disk into the external floppy drive, we can see that it appears on the desktop. So there we go. So that's the MiniDock up and running. I'll shut it down. So now what we'll do is we'll try the full-sized Duo dock. Okay, here we have the full-sized Duo dock for the Macintosh PowerBook Duo. So as you can see, not much to really look at from the front, except you've got the slot here where the actual PowerBook Duo is inserted into, as you can see. So you can insert it about that far, but once you then push on it up to about here, that's when you obviously have power to the Duo dock, the motor then pulls the Duo dock in. Pulls the Duo in, I should say. And to remove it, you can either, I believe, shut down and eject the Duo from the dock from the Mac OS, or you can push the eject button over here on the right. Just there. So other than that, on the front we have the Duo dock name tag and Apple logo down there, and I believe that grill down there is for the built-in speaker. Because this Duo dock, this one's actually the Duo Dock Plus, this one really has all of the various features that you would want. So for example, on the side, we have a built-in floppy drive right here. So there's no need to hook up an external drive to the Duo. And on the back, as you can see, it looks very much like a standard Mac desktop. So over here we've got the power switch, then the ADB, an ADB port, external monitor, printer and modem ports. This one actually has built-in AAUI networking, external SCSI, microphone in, speaker out, and again a built-in modem, and in this case again it looks like a GeoPort connector. But note that we also have two expansion slot covers down here, because this model of dock actually has two, I believe they're full-length NuBus expansion slots as well. And then we have the standard power input and monitor output, power output ports, and the serial number tag down there. If you're wondering where the model information is, well, like most devices that Apple produce, it's on the bottom. So if we just flip this up, you can see, and up, here's the information tag. So this one is the PowerBook Duo Dock Plus. Now, this actually came in three different versions. There was the original Duo Dock, the Duo Dock 2, then the Duo Dock Plus. Now, the original Duo Dock was released with the first Duo laptops, that's the 210 and 230. And then when the colour Duo machines came out, such as the 270C, they had slightly thicker cases because of the colour display. And therefore, the Duo Dock 2 is released with a slightly larger slot so you could insert them. And then the Duo Dock Plus came out, which basically had everything that the Duo Dock 2 had, except it didn't have a built-in FPU because I think it didn't have a built-in FPU mainly because the newer Duos that had a 68040 PowerPC chip didn't need it. So that's why the Plus didn't have one. But other than that, this is the DuoDock Plus assembled in USA, M1585, and all the various certifications there. Now, I originally thought there was nothing on this side of the Duo dock, but actually I was wrong. On this side, if we have a closer look, we can see that there is a key switch at the front, which is used obviously to lock the Duo into the dock, so people can't remove it. And over here, there's actually a There's actually a manual eject feature. So I would say that it's to be used if the Duo dock has no power, or if the motorized eject mechanism were to fail. So I think you have to take a key and push it into that little slot to eject the Duo. Okay, well, as we normally do in these videos, before we try out the DuoDock Plus, we will take it apart. Now, in order to take a DuoDock apart, the first step is to remove the top cover. Now, to do that, there are two plastic clips just inside the cover, one on each side. So if you put your thumbs in there and carefully push out while lifting up on the front of the cover, it will release, and then you can pull the cover forward to release it from the back. So that's the top cover that's now out. So as you can see, what we have here now is the front section where the Duo would normally go. You've got the load and eject mechanism here, the logic board here, power supplies just down here, and underneath here we have the new bus slots and the floppy drive. So the next step is to take out the eject mechanism. Now, to do that, we have to unplug the motor just there, and there are 4 screws that we have to take out. One here, and 2 here, one on either side of the docking connector. Okay, well, I had to get another screwdriver to get this screw out here because it's recessed quite deeply into its housing, so I couldn't use my normal screwdriver. So hopefully I've now removed all the screws, so hopefully I can now remove the mechanism up. No, these 2 screws at the front are still not completely out. That's the eject. Let's get the screw out of there. That's the eject, load and eject mechanism removed. As you can see, it looks very much like the mechanism in the MiniDock, except that there is a motor which actually pulls these hooks back to mate the Duo with the dock. Now, what we'll do now, I think, is remove the entire top section. So we have to unplug these connectors here for the power supply. Unplug that. This one's for the floppy drive. This one's for the eject switch. And this one's for the speaker. So just unplug all of them, get them out of the way. Now, I believe there are 2 screws recessed, one down this hole here and one down this hole here. They're both flathead screws, and I need to undo those. Okay, now that I've loosened those 2 screws, I can pull the front panel forwards like that and lift up on it. Oh, just make sure they don't get caught. And so you can see that the top section, including the logic board, is now out of the system. So we'll come back to that in a second. Just put it down. And over here, all we have left is the power supply. And to remove it, we simply have to push down on these 2 plastic tabs while pushing forward on the power supply. Just push down on that, and the power supply should slide forwards. That's the theory. Are there any screws I have to take out? I don't think there are. No, I don't think there are. So I believe this looks like it's stuck. Let's have a look. I'm certain that all we have to do is to push back on the power supply while pushing down on these tabs. Oh, there it goes. Oh, go, so that's the power supply now out of the system. So that's all we can take out of the bottom section, as you can see. So we'll quickly go back to the upper section here, and we'll disassemble this further. So what we'll do now is we'll take out the logic board. Now to do that, we've got 2 more screws to take out, one here and one over here. Okay, now the board should now slide backwards. Let's see. Hold on, I may have to unhook this first. This is the Geo port modem adapter, I think. Let me just move that. Oh, it's also got a screw here. Take that out too. So to support it at the bottom because it'll flex otherwise. We'll just unhook that, move it out of the way. Up, now the board is up. There we go. So the board is now free, along with the NuBus adapter card, which I believe will just pull off just like that. Okay, so what's left? Well, let's have a look. If we tip this over, we can see that we have the floppy drive. So to take it out, I believe we simply have to pull these 4 plastic clips, pull them out to release the drive. Looks like it. Let's see, let's pull up. I may have to remove this piece here first. This looks like the NuBus card guide. So when inserting NuBus cards, they would sit along here. I may have to remove that first. So to do that, no, I don't think that's the way to do it. I think you push in on here and pull back. There we go. So now the drive should be free to lift straight up and out. So be careful with these plastic tabs. Oh, there we go. Oh, be careful. And that one as well. Oh, there it goes. The cable. That's got to unplug the cable first. There we go. Okay, and there's the floppy drive out of the system. And note that it's an identical mechanism to that used in pretty much every desktop Mac of the time. It's an auto-inject drive, by the way. So if you have to replace it, make sure you replace it with another auto-inject drive, because if you don't, the slot will not let you insert a floppy disk all the way into it if it was a manual inject. Okay, well I think that's about all from what I can see here. That looks like that's about it. So let's have a quick look at the logic board. Okay, here is the logic board out of the Duo Dock Plus, and so let's have a look at what we've got on here. So if we start from the top, we've got the looks like the power switch there. We've got the ADB port up here, and all the other ports up at the top. As you can see, there's the AUI port, HDI port for external SCSI, and monitor and audio ports. And now it's interesting to note that the Duo Dock, in this case, actually supports an internal SCSI device. I'm not entirely sure where you mount it in the case though, but you can see here we have a terminator. If I just pull that out, you can see that we actually have the provision for adding an internal SCSI device. So obviously you could add an extra hard disk into the dock if you wanted, which is quite neat. Now so the board's branded Duo Dock 2, but in fact this is a Duo Dock Plus. But as you'll see, the difference between the two is that the Duo Dock Plus does not have the numeric coprocessor that the earlier dock had, only because it was a 688A2 which did not work with the newer 040 and PowerPC equipped Duos. Right, that's the digital to analog converter for the display. Let's see, that looks like that's either, that could well be extra memory. Whether it's video memory or system memory, I'm not quite sure. That looks like some kind of ROM, not sure what that's for either. That's the SCSI controller there. And that's the power supply connector. That's the Ethernet controller there. Glue logic there. And that's the connector for the new bus right angle or edge connector card, new bus adapter, as it's shown there. Another glue logic chip there, I'd say, probably the new bus controller. That's where the FPU would have gone, but as I said, this model of the dock does not have it. There's some micro switches here to detect when the eject motor is obviously in the in or out position. Some more connectors there. That's the SCSI power. So obviously you can see where you'd mount it though. Where would you mount the hard disk? Interesting. That's the docking connector down there, and that's about it. And that's probably the locks. That's probably the switch to detect when the lock is engaged for the with the key switch, so it doesn't try and eject a machine that's been locked into place. Okay, well, we now have the Duo dock set up for a quick test. So we've got a monitor, a keyboard and mouse connected up to the dock, as you can see here. And so I'm going to be using my PowerBook Duo 250 for this test. Now, the way this works is that the dock remains powered off until you insert a Duo laptop into it. And when you do, as I mentioned, when you insert it almost all the way, the mechanism will grab and pull the Duo into the dock all the rest of the way to make a good connection with the docking connector. And then the battery will start charging as if you'd hooked up the AC adapter to the Duo. And then to power the system on, you can either use the power switch on the back of the dock or on the keyboard if you have one attached. So we'll turn the monitor on first. Warm up for a second. And I'll now insert the Duo 250 into the dock. So at this point, the Duo is now docked and the battery is charging. Now to turn it on, we can either use the keyboard or the power switch on the back. So this one we'll use the keyboard. So as you can see now, the PowerBook Duo has now powered up in the dock. So for all intents and purposes, it's now functioning just like a regular Macintosh desktop, except we now have a floppy drive that we can use. In fact, we'll just test that quickly. If I insert a disk into the drive on the side. Yep, there's our disk. Just eject that. So here's our disk we can remove. And of course we also have built-in networking now as well, because this dock has a AAUI Ethernet port. So now if we shut the machine down at this point, the Duo will remain in the dock charging its battery. But if we want to take the Duo with us, we can simply push the eject button over here, which will simultaneously power, well actually in sequence, power the system off, shut it down, and then eject the dock, or eject the Duo from the dock. So let's try that. So as you can see, it's ejected the Duo. We can simply pull it out and we're good to go. So that was a quick demonstration of the various types of docking systems used by the Macintosh PowerBook Duo series. So I hope you enjoyed the video and thank you for watching.